Hi, it's David here with Futures Trading. I'd like to welcome you to the channel. I know a lot of you may work during the day, so you don't have time to look at the market. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to record 9:30 for you for roughly about 15 minutes. And then from there, you'll be able to see the market along with the other information that I have here. I did do some updates here on the channel here, well, the YouTube channel. And I wanted to definitely bring emphasis to the logical ways of entering the market. So I'm going to touch on that really quickly within the 15 minutes while we look at the tools at 9:30. The indicators, you don't need them. I want to say that to you guys. I know I made this update, but I definitely want to express that to you. You don't need them. But for those that have them, I do suggest you go and update your your download. Just update your download. You don't have to because this is already in there, the zones, but I did make some levels for them. Now, there were some levels there in association with the zones, but I wanted to absolutely make you the levels for the zones. All right, so there's kind of like a dual way of going about it. And if you don't know what the indicator is, look just above your aggression. So your DTT aggression indicator, these zones should be right there. All right. Now, if you don't have that indicator that I'm referring to, because I'm not going to disclose what the indicator is online, and because all of my indicators, I try to name them in a way that you can understand what it's supposed to do. All right. So, but I want you to take a look at the DTT aggression. Look just above it. You should already have these zones. If definitely, if you recently purchased the suite, you should have these zones. But what I did is I took and added levels for it, so you don't have to use the zones at all. All right. So I recently did that, so you can go and just use the same link that you were provided for the indicators. Just you can just update your file. All right. So but the zones, I know a lot of you may use other platforms, and that's fine. My suite works on the free version of NinjaTrader if you want the suite, but you don't have to have it. Again, I'm going to go over how to look at the market without any of this information. But for those that have the suite, you may not have considered putting it on a one tick chart. Okay, so if you don't have the order flow function, again, if you're using a free version, you won't have the order flow function. And so, what it is, I tried to create something that can help with that information as well. So you can kind of get into it without needing this down here. And again, I try to create tools that's indicative of what's simple. That's all what's simple and what can be repeated. All right. So let's go over what we're looking for. So here's 9:30. Let me let this play out, but this is what we're looking for. All right. This is all what we're looking for right here. We want a bar. And then let me stay in draw mode. That would actually help. We want the live candle to exceed the prior bar. Now, in the instance of going down, clearly we want the mid of that live candle to exceed the bar's low. All right. And then, of course, if we're going up, it's this. All right. So you don't need indicators. I want to say that to you. You don't need them. And that's why I'm trying to express this to you now. We just want to get that mid above the high or that mid below that bar's low. That's it. And that mid is this blue line here, this blue line, but there's an indication that will flash in the upper right and the bottom right corner here should that take place. All right, so that's going to fire off. All right, so let's see if it'll do it. I don't know if it'll do it on this bar. It should do it on this one. The wick zone. So let me tell you about that so you'll know how to trade that as well. And again, this is for those that don't have the tools. If you don't have the tools, you don't need them. Again, I try to teach you stuff that you can apply to any market, any time frame. And again, I'm only going to be up here for about 15 minutes. You want the market to pull into those two lines that's on the bar and then pull back out of it. If it goes too far, clearly it can run the back of the bar. Now, it doesn't have to, but I just want to tell you that's how far you're looking for the market to pull back before it resumes. All right. And that's really simple. All right. So, how far is too far when the bar is pulling back into your bar? All right. And I'm trying to give you an idea of what that looks like. All right. Now, there's one more additional thing that I want to tell you about price. You'll see these little red squares or green squares on the bottom of the bars. Is this, and again, I want to kind of read all of this to you in real time so that way you can kind of see it. We're trying to get a bar, and then of course we want to see We don't want this, but it happens. All right, I'll just say it that way. Get four bodies. There's four bodies. Let's put this one here inside of this bar here, that creates a problem, where the market is stalling. So it'll slow down. It, may pull back and may just go, to the right a bit. And then of course it may take back off or it may reverse. And so you're seeing that up here on this high, and coming into this high, they was already doing it. All right. So, and of course, they came down here on this bottom, and then this happened here and they kind of slowed down, then they took off. All right. So that's simple. You may get it here. You may get it here. I know it's starting to set up on this bar here. So there may be a little square that may show up on the bottom of this bar, a little red square that may show up on the bottom of this bar right here, and two more bars. So that'll help you in some degree know that the market is trying to cycle, it's trying to slow down. Do it have to do it? No, it doesn't, but it can. All right. So in the next 2 minutes, this is what we're looking at. In the next 2 minutes, there's a chance that there's going to be a little square show up on this bar, and that's some useful information. There's another tool that's included with that setup. All right, and that's called the DTT manipulation. Well, there's another indicator that's attached to that function, and you guys, you can look in your maps, your historical maps, and it will put that information there for you. All right. So the the zones down here again, I want to express to you guys, if you recently bought the suite, all right, I want to say to you, you can put, when I told you in the email, hey, this could help, with your cycles. Okay, I want you to utilize this to kind of get an idea of when your wick of your bar will possibly give you a entry, a timing way of getting about it, where you can time yourself into it. All right, see, we're getting a red zone up here. We want them to absorb the green boxes. That's the key. So wherever you're seeing the green boxes, you kind of just want them to run right past those boxes. All right, just run right past them if you don't mind. And of course, yes, if it comes in on this side of it and they're, making the red ones, and they run past the red ones, yes, they can absolutely go up. And you'll see moments where, like here, you see that little green line on the price activity there. It's not so much a box, but it's a green line. It's something that, again, the market is doing. And I'm telling the indicator to detect it, and just place something there to remind you that it's happening. And so that's important. All right. So now, when it comes to what else I want to tell you? Oh, the range times. That's what I want to mention to you, because I know a lot of you may be trading different platforms. And so, again, you don't need my tools. I want to say that to you. You don't need them. A lot of you may be trading different platforms. So I want to give you some times here. All right. So here's the range. The range is from overnight, and then, of course, this morning. The overnight range time is 12:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1:45. Okay, 1:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're trying to get the center of the range to kind of hold price. Whether it's to the upside or the downside, either which one. It just makes sense if it can do that. And then, of course, here you want to go 6:15 to 7:45. And again, this is Eastern Standard Time. All right, so that's what you have here. Now, when it comes to the NC, because you're seeing an NC, all right. So when you see the little NC, that just means no close. You don't want to see a close back above that. There's that green. It got a green square on this. It got a green square on this right there. I must have loaded it preset to how I like to see the colors. I usually have it red. If you use it straight out the box, there's a red square that'll be there. I got it kind of preset differently here. So, but it's fine. It's all the same. It just means it's slowing down. And then, of course, here's the red one above this bar. But if you use the indicator straight out the box, it'll be green. All right. But it's a red one here. And typically they would try to turn, or, they would try to buy, lift it up sometimes, but it's not just that. It's something else that's going on with it. But yes, take it, just kind of put that into it too. Try to add that into that information as well. All right, so they're closing above here. They're closing above here. They pulled into the wick zone. So here's the wick zone here. And again, my tools are tools that you can learn from. I don't know if you saw that on the banner on the channel. Is that the tools, the indications? That's all they are, indications, just trying to indicate something to you. They're tools that you can learn from. All right, so that's why I don't plaster all the tools on the chart. So I don't put all the indicators on the chart. And there's well over 300 indicators that I provide. This is, let me see, one, two, three. There's three here, three indicators here, and I'll list them out to you. And there's a couple more real-time indications over here. But as far as the bar coloring and the levels, that's all just three indicators. So you get your no touch, no close indicator, which is this. You get your manipulation indicator, which is this. All right. And then, of course, the wick zone is just that's another tool that I put on the bars. And I actually have a couple more of the things going on with that tool that can give you some additional information. All right. But I just don't have it being plotted on the bar. But there's some other information that goes along with that tool that plots those lines. Really, really important stuff, too. But those are, and then of course, this bar color. When the bar closes, as you can see, when the bar closes, it turns blue. The moment that it closes, it does not require two bars, okay, for that indication. It doesn't. So when the bar closes, it turns blue. All right. If this bar can finish above this bar's high, uh, there should there should be a level that'll pop up here and see under this bar because the pressure is going off, saying that this scenario is actually happening. It it went away, so it may not do it at this point. But these blue bars are very interesting. And if you were to, of course, proceed with wanting to get the suite for a limited time, I'm actually giving out the link to how to go about interacting with these bars. All right, the blue ones. All right, just a way of interacting with them for a limited time. I'm disclosing that information. All right, not all of what goes into it clearly, but I just want to, of course, give you an idea of what to do with the blue bars when they show up. All right, so that one didn't make it. All right, so we got consecutive blue bars. That's important too. I want to tell you, you had consecutive coming into this. You had consecutive here. That's important, and we just got to see what is it that they plan to do. Did they break this low? I believe they did. Yes. So they broke that low. That's fine. All right. So that's fine. Let's see how many bars do we have to the upside here. Again, if you're new to trading, the goal is to teach you how to do this without having indicators. So you got one, two, three. That's just three. All right. Now they can go past here and still turn around and come back down should they want to do that. All right. So that's just three. If this one can close higher, that'll be four. We're trying to get seven green bullish bars to close higher. Okay. So let's see if this one can do it. We got about 3 seconds left. It seemed to be heading that way. All right. So we got four. That's pretty good. Now, again, once they get through this high, which I suspect that's what they're definitely up to at this point, uh, we would just want to see if they can give us seven, and then from there we'll have the distance as to how far it can go. These blue bars, again, when the bar closes, it is a buy or a sell, so you can have your stop below or above, but you would need to make sure you have some context to how all of that is working. Just want to say that to you. So the other two things that you'll want to look for is this. All right, so I gave you majority here. That's a majority. All right, you want to find this all over the chart. I mean, absolutely all over the chart. You're going to find it. That's where you're seeing the green and the red bars, and occasionally a bar will be blue with that and the other indicator I have on the chart there. The next thing that you'll want to look for is very simple. I'm trying to cover all this in just a few minutes here. We got about 5 more minutes to go. You want to get a wick, and then you want to get a smaller wick. All right, so let's just do it this way. All right, so you got a wick and a smaller wick. This is another way of going about it. All right, so here you got a big wick. That's a pretty big wick. Okay, then you got a smaller wick. So they're here. Okay, now here you got a big wick. You got a smaller wick. They're up there too. All right, so and then of course they came down here and they tested that turn. You got a big wick. You got a smaller wick. Well, yes, then yeah, I can go. All right, so that's the scenario that you have there. Now let's go with one more. So we're gonna give you one more to go with. All right, so you got this scenario here where you're gonna have a body. Then we're gonna do it to the downside just because I got some room here. So we get another body. Well, let's go this way. Let's do it like this. You're gonna get a body of a candle. Okay, and you want to ensure that this candle, this body can fit inside this candle at least twice. All right, so if it can fit inside there twice, that's your next go. All right, so that's another scenario that you can go with. All right, so there's three ways of going about it. There, you got this one here. That's majority. Okay, where you want the mid of the bar to exceed the prior bar, the mid of the bar to exceed the prior bar's low. You have your wicks. This is your wicks. All right, that's a bigger wick, smaller wick. And then, of course, you have your body, where you have your body being able to fit into this candle at least twice. Okay, so at least twice. You wanted to go in there twice. Those are three separate ways of finding majority in the chart in order to work, in order to find the strength to know whether or not it will go. There are several different ways of the manipulation can take place on the chart, but here's one that is really simple and it's easy, and I'm pretty certain it's going to show up on your chart. So wherever you're trading, whether it's on this platform, or other platforms, this manipulation information here will show up. Now, again, I'm leaving out a lot of information about all of this. I am, but this should help. If you see this show up, there's a chance. See, you get the green little square under this bar when this bar closed. Now, this is important what they just did. Now, I believe it can keep going. I do. I think it's going to go up even higher. But can they turn it around and drop? Yes, they can. Now we got our big wick. All right, so let's look at this. We got our big wick. Now this stuff can be done in real time. I have you know that, and they're up here too. You got your big wick. You got your smaller wick. It's just up. From above as well as below, and there's your smaller wick here. And you can look into your 1 second here. Well, one tick. I'm sorry, one tick. It does work on 1 second charts, second charts. It does work on that. Any chart type, you can kind of put it on there. So you can look in here. And again, this is all about, can you absorb those green boxes? That's all. Or the red ones for that matter. It just depends on how you're trying to go about it. And of course, you'll want to try to get this done. Most of the time, you'll want to look in here if you're going to use a one tick chart or a 1 second chart. You'll want to do that with the zone, the wick zone. So you want to wait until they get inside your wick zone, and then you look in here and see if it's adding up. Does it make sense? And then from there, possibly pull the trigger once you see the information kind of lining up. Just wanted to get you up the board there. So they're down here. Again, we saw the bigger wick and we saw the smaller wick. Again, you don't need my indications. I want to say that to you, but if you're already in the market searching for them, I do have them available for you. And again, for all of those that who had purchased the suite, this indicator that's on the chart, if you're not already using it, the indicator that's on the chart, I can't say it online. I want to just tell you, it's the indicator just above the DTT aggression. All right, so it's just above that. And if you would like to, you can go and use that same download link, because I did upload the levels for this one. Now, I did provide you levels in relation to this information here, but there's a level that I recently did that's specific to these boxes. All right. So these little zones that is plotting, I tried to make levels for them exclusively. And so you can use that link. All right. So I didn't want to be before you long, but I definitely want to give you a lot of information within the few minutes that's here. I only have this here. This is the big trade information. I only have this here just in comparison. So I know there's some of you that may use Bookmap or even the MZ pack stuff or anybody's order flow information. I just wanted you to be able to see, in comparison. That's all. That you could still have the free version of Ninja Trader and get some information that's useful. Again, I've been reading price for for a very long time. There wasn't any prop firms, there was no ICT online, no none of that stuff. Okay, and I'm just that old now. Let's see. Let me tell you about that too, because I know a lot of you like that information. We got a blue bar up here. Okay, so to find gaps, let me tell you this, and then I must go. To find gaps, it's really simple. All right, so you get a bar and then you get another bar. Okay, and it's all about majority. Okay, so this is the next bar, trading the live candle. Remember, everything I'm telling you, you can apply it to any platform, any time frame. It doesn't matter. You don't need my suite in order to get this done. You don't. It's simple. All right, so you get the mid above the high. Okay, if you do that, there's a good chance, just a good chance, it's not going to happen all the time, that there will be, I'm sorry, there will be some kind of gap you know, between this bar here and the next one that will form. And so you don't really need to wait on that third bar. You don't need that third bar in order to get it to work. You don't. The gap should be there for the most part. It should be. All right. And so you can go back and rewind the video when this scenario happened here. Remember, we got our squares here. We had a square on top of this bar here and a square on this one. So they kind of slowed down. All right. It's happening here. We got to just see if it'll keep going. I don't want to hold the video much longer though. So you'll have to go back and look at your chart, but you definitely want to check that out. Just go back and you'll see that oftentimes if this happens, if majority happens, which is that mid getting above that high or below that low, there's a good chance that third bar will not want to come back and touch that high, just most of the time. All right. So you'll be provided again all of this information because that's all it is. It's just information. But again, I can tell you how to read it without any of these indicators. I'm telling the indicators what to look for. So clearly, I could read it without any of this stuff. And that's what's important. A bar timer would be nice on a chart if I had to, just go at a chart. Yeah, get me a bar timer. But for the most part, the goal is just to be able to get you to be able to read it with confidence, with logical information that's not full of a lot of subjectivity. All right. So there's a volume indicator that's provided in here, and that's just giving you the volume again, just to kind of compare some of what I'm telling you, kind of see what the volume does when it get in, particular areas. And then, of course, I got tons of pressure indicators for all of your different timing needs because everybody's timing is different. It depends on how you're trading, what kind of size you're using, and then of course there's three different, here's the thing, there's three different arrows here. All three arrows are calculating something completely different. And then there's time frames, different time frames here as well. All right, so you can have somewhat of a this is dealing with seconds down here. This is like 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, hourly. So you're getting different fractal alignment on your time frame as well without having to use that additional chart. The NC is the no close level. I know you see them came when they came under this bar here. This was a no close level. They kind of dug under it and then pushed off. But that level is associated with that bar color. They're pulling right back into the center of that range. Let's see if we got our 7. Then I must go. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3. That's 4. Here's 5. They need 2 more. All right, so they just need 2 more again. So this is again the information that's provided, and I wanted to make sure that you guys have a wonderful holiday. And again, I will be back sometime next year. I know I said it in the last video, but I did make that additional indicator there, and I wanted to let everyone know to, if they would like to have the levels attached to the zones, that they're more than welcome to go and pick that information up. All right. So I hope that you have enjoyed the few minutes that I've been up here. I know, again, some of you work at 9:30 and you can't capture that 9:30 activity. This is a way of going about being able to view that information as well. All right. So I wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.